I'm Juliette, a 27-year-old woman living in the heart of Paris. My life here is a tapestry of daily routines, cultural experiences, friendships, and, of course, a little bit of drama. I've lived in this city since I was 18, when I moved here to study art history at the Sorbonne. Now, I work as a curator at a small but prestigious art gallery in the Marais district, a job that fuels my passion for both art and history. I wake up every morning at 6:30 a.m., when the first rays of sunlight filter through my bedroom window, which overlooks a charming cobblestone street. The air smells of fresh croissants from the bakery downstairs, and the distant hum of morning traffic is just beginning. My morning starts with a deep stretch, followed by a quick glance at my phone to check messages and emails. But I resist the urge to dive into work right away. I've learned that the day flows better when I take a moment to center myself. First, I head to the bathroom to begin my morning skincare routine. I splash my face with cold water to wake up fully. Then I use a gentle cleanser followed by a hydrating toner. My favorite morning serum is a vitamin C serum that leaves my skin glowing, and I always finish with a light moisturizer and sunscreen, even when it's cloudy. French women are big on skincare, and I've adopted that philosophy wholeheartedly. After skincare, it's time for breakfast. I usually keep it simple: a slice of toasted baguette with butter and homemade apricot jam, and a bowl of yogurt with honey and granola. I always make a pot of coffee, strong and dark, which I enjoy slowly while reading a book or browsing through the morning news. My favorite books are usually French classics or historical novels. Something about diving into another time or place feels like a perfect start to the day. Once breakfast is done, I get dressed. My style is typically Parisian, understated yet chic. Today, I choose a simple navy dress with a cinched waist, paired with a beige trench coat and black ankle boots. I always wear a delicate gold necklace that belonged to my grandmother, a piece that makes me feel connected to my family. My makeup routine is minimal: just a touch of concealer, a swipe of mascara, and my favorite red lipstick, which adds a pop of color to my look. The lipstick is my favorite part. It's a shade of red that makes me feel confident and ready to take on the world. I leave my apartment around 8 a.m., the streets of Paris alive with the bustle of people heading to work, cafes serving their first customers, and the smell of fresh bread wafting through the air. I walk to the gallery, which takes about 20 minutes, crossing the Seine and passing by some of my favorite landmarks like Notre Dame and the Louvre. It's a walk that never gets old. The beauty of this city always takes my breath away. At work, my day is filled with meetings, planning exhibitions, and sometimes even working with artists directly. The gallery is small but highly respected, known for showcasing both contemporary and classic art. I love the challenge of curating exhibitions that tell a story, that provoke thought and evoke emotion. It's not just about displaying art. It's about creating an experience for the visitors. Lunch is usually something light and fresh: a salad with goat cheese and walnuts, or a baguette sandwich with ham, cheese, and butter. Sometimes I treat myself to a pastry from a nearby pâtisserie, because why not? After lunch, I often meet with colleagues or friends at a cafe for an espresso, taking a moment to catch up on life and share a few laughs. The social aspect of life in Paris is something I treasure. There's always time for a coffee and a conversation. Evenings are my favorite time of day. I usually head home around 6 p.m., unless there's a special event at the gallery. Back in my apartment, I change into something more comfortable, usually a soft sweater and leggings, and start preparing dinner. I love cooking. It's a way to unwind after a long day. Tonight I'm making ratatouille, a classic Provençal dish made with eggplant, zucchini, tomatoes, and bell peppers, all simmered in olive oil and herbs. I pair it with a glass of red wine, usually something from Bordeaux or Burgundy. After dinner I might watch a French film or read a book. I also make time for my night skincare routine, which is a bit more indulgent than the morning one. I start with a cleansing oil to remove makeup, followed by a gentle exfoliant and a rich night cream. Once a week I use a face mask. My favorite is a hydrating sheet mask that leaves my skin feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. Sometimes I meet up with friends for a late-night drink at a nearby bar. We talk about everything: our lives, our work, and sometimes the little jealousies and dramas that come with living in a city like Paris. There's one woman in particular, Camille, who always seems to have a bit of an edge with me. She's a colleague at another gallery, and while we're friendly, I can tell there's some competition between us. It's subtle, of course, just little comments here and there, but I've learned to brush it off. I focus on my own path, knowing that everyone has their own journey. My weekends are a blend of relaxation and exploration. I love visiting museums, especially smaller ones that are off the beaten path. I also enjoy walking through different neighborhoods, discovering new cafes, boutiques, and parks. My favorite time to explore is early in the morning when the city is still waking up, and there's a certain tranquility in the air. Paris has a rhythm, a way of life that's both fast-paced and leisurely at the same time. It's a city of contrasts, where history meets modernity, where tradition blends with innovation. Living here has shaped me in ways I never imagined. I've learned to appreciate the little things: the taste of a perfectly brewed coffee, the feel of a good book in my hands, the sight of the Eiffel Tower sparkling at night. At 27, I'm still discovering new things about myself and this city every day. I'm proud of the life I've built here, the career, the friendships, the small rituals that make up my day. And while there are challenges like dealing with jealousy or the occasional loneliness, I wouldn't trade this experience for anything. As I look toward the future, my life in Paris continues to evolve in ways that both excite and challenge me. Now that I'm in my late 20s, I'm more certain of what I want, and what I don't want, out of life. One thing I've become increasingly sure of is that marriage isn't for me. It's not that I'm against love or relationships, but I've seen too many people, friends, colleagues, even my parents, lose themselves in the idea of marriage, sacrificing their dreams and individuality in the process. I've had a few significant relationships in my life, but each one has reinforced my belief that marriage would feel like a cage, not a partnership. There's a certain freedom in living life on your own terms, in not having to compromise your ambitions or lifestyle for the sake of someone else. The men in my life have been wonderful in many ways, but they've also shown me the limitations that come with traditional expectations of relationships. For instance, my last boyfriend, Lucas, was charming, intelligent, and loved me deeply, but he wanted a life that was more settled. He dreamt of a house in the suburbs, children, and a routine that felt suffocating to me. I, on the other hand, dream of traveling the world, diving deeper into my career, and continuing to grow as an individual. The idea of tying myself down to a conventional life scares me more than the prospect of being alone. I want to be able to pick up and move to another country if an opportunity arises, or spend months at a time immersing myself in a new culture. I want to wake up every day knowing that I can follow my passions without feeling held back by anyone else's expectations. One of my biggest dreams is to open my own art gallery someday. A space that isn't just for displaying art but for nurturing new talent and fostering creativity. I want it to be a place where people from all walks of life can come together, where art becomes a conversation, a catalyst for change. I've already started planning, saving, and even networking with artists and investors who share my vision. It's a dream that keeps me motivated, even on the days when self-doubt creeps in. And self-doubt is something I grapple with more often than I'd like to admit. Despite my outward confidence, there are moments when I question whether I'm making the right choices. I worry about the future, about whether I'll truly be happy living this unconventional life. There's a fear that, in choosing freedom, I might end up missing out on the kind of deep connection that comes with building a life with someone else. But then, I remind myself that there are many ways to find fulfillment, and that happiness doesn't have to follow the traditional path. Another fear that lingers in the back of my mind is the idea of failure, of putting everything into my dreams and not succeeding. The art world is notoriously difficult, and there's no guarantee that my gallery will be the success I envision. But I try to push through that fear, reminding myself that it's better to take the risk than to live with the regret of not trying at all. In recent years, I've also become more interested in exploring my spiritual side. Paris is a city rich with history, and I've found myself drawn to its quieter, more contemplative corners. The old churches, the hidden gardens, the places where time seems to slow down. I've started meditating regularly, something that helps me stay grounded and focused amidst the chaos of daily life. It's also helped me come to terms with some of the unresolved issues from my past, like my strained relationship with my father. He was always distant, more interested in his work than in being a part of our family. For a long time I carried that pain with me, letting it shape my relationships with men. But through meditation and reflection, I've begun to let go of that hurt, realizing that his absence doesn't define my worth. I've also been thinking more about my legacy, not in a grand world-changing sense, but in terms of the small ways I can make a difference. I've started volunteering at a local community center, teaching art classes to underprivileged children. It's a small thing, but it brings me so much joy to see their eyes light up when they create something they're proud of. It's also a reminder that art isn't just for the elite. It's for everyone, and it has the power to change lives in ways that are profound and lasting. My friendships have deepened, too, as I've become more intentional about the people I surround myself with. I've let go of some toxic relationships, people who were more interested in competition than in genuine connection. In their place, I've cultivated a circle of friends who inspire and uplift me, who understand and respect my choices, even if they don't always agree with them. We support each other's dreams, celebrate each other's successes, and are there for each other in the tough times. It's a kind of chosen family that I value deeply, one that makes the prospect of not having a traditional family of my own feel less daunting. As I move forward, I'm excited about the unknown. I don't have everything figured out, and I'm okay with that. Life is a journey, and I'm committed to making it as rich, fulfilling, and true to myself as possible. Whether that means continuing my life in Paris, moving to another country, or finally realizing my dream of opening a gallery, I know that I'm on the right path for me. A path where marriage isn't the goal, but where love, passion, and creativity are the guiding lights. As my journey continues, I find myself drawn to the more unconventional aspects of life in Paris. There's a world within this city that's hidden beneath the surface, a network of secret places and experiences that only those with a curious heart can uncover. I've always been fascinated by the lesser-known history of Paris, the stories that aren't found in guidebooks or told on tours, and recently, I've been delving deeper into this side of the city. One of the more unusual things I've started doing is exploring the catacombs, an intricate labyrinth of tunnels and chambers beneath Paris that few dare to venture into. While the official tour is well known, I've connected with a group of urban explorers who have access to parts of the catacombs that are off-limits to the public. It's thrilling and a bit eerie, descending into the darkness with only a headlamp to guide the way, surrounded by centuries of history. The walls are covered in graffiti, some of it recent, some of it dating back to the 18th century, when the tunnels were first used as an ossuary. There's a sense of being in another world down there, where time stands still and the hustle and bustle of Paris feels like a distant memory. These underground adventures have become a form of escapism for me, a way to step out of the everyday routine and experience something entirely different. There's also a certain camaraderie among the group I explore with, people from all walks of life who share a love for history and a thirst for adventure. We swap stories, share tips, and sometimes just sit in the dark, listening to the silence that's so rare above ground. In contrast to these dark explorations, I've also developed a newfound passion for rooftop gardening. It started as a way to bring a bit of nature into my city life, but it's grown into something much more meaningful. I've transformed my apartment's small rooftop into a green oasis, filled with pots of herbs, flowers, and even a few vegetables. There's something incredibly satisfying about nurturing these plants, watching them grow and thrive despite the concrete jungle surrounding them. Gardening has taught me patience and mindfulness, qualities I didn't realize I needed until I started. Every morning after my usual routine, I spend time tending to my little rooftop garden, watering the plants, checking for new growth, and simply enjoying the quiet. It's become a ritual that grounds me, a moment of peace before the day's chaos begins. I've even started experimenting with using the herbs and vegetables I grow in my cooking, adding fresh basil to pasta dishes or mint to my tea. It's a small but deeply fulfilling way of bringing a bit of nature into my everyday life. Another interesting twist in my life is the project I've recently taken on, a collaboration with a well-known fashion designer who wants to blend art and fashion in a unique way. We're working on a collection inspired by famous paintings, translating the essence of these masterpieces into wearable art. It's a challenging but exciting project, pushing me to think about art in a completely new way. Instead of just curating it for display, I'm helping to transform it into something that people can wear and express themselves through. The designer and I spend hours brainstorming, sketching, and experimenting with fabrics and colors. It's a creative process unlike anything I've done before, and I'm learning so much about the fashion world, an industry that's as intricate and layered as the art world I know so well. This project has also opened up new social circles for me. I've been attending more fashion events, mingling with designers, models, and influencers who have their own unique take on creativity. It's fascinating to see how these worlds intersect, how fashion and art can influence each other in ways that are both subtle and profound. I've even started experimenting with my own wardrobe, incorporating pieces that reflect the fusion of art and fashion we're working on. It's a way of expressing myself that feels both new and deeply connected to my passion for art. Through these experiences, I've also become more aware of the importance of self-expression and the different forms it can take. While I've always seen myself as an art curator, these new ventures are showing me that my role in the art world doesn't have to be confined to galleries and exhibitions. There's a whole world of possibilities out there, ways to bring art into everyday life that I'm only just beginning to explore. Amidst all these new pursuits, I've also made a conscious effort to deepen my relationships with people who inspire and challenge me. One of my closest friends, Isabel, is a poet who has been encouraging me to explore writing as another form of creative expression. I've always loved reading, but writing has always intimidated me. There's a vulnerability in putting your thoughts and feelings into words that I've never been entirely comfortable with. But with Isabel's guidance, I've started journaling more, capturing my thoughts, dreams, and fears in a way that feels both cathartic and enlightening. And so, I move forward with curiosity as my guide, embracing the mysteries and possibilities that lie ahead. In the end, it's not about finding all the answers, but about enjoying the journey, with all its complexities, joys, and challenges. My life in France is not just a chapter in my story. It's a testament to the power of living life on your own terms, unafraid to explore, dream, and grow.